Hello.
Hello, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Very good, Danny. How are you doing, old boy?
I'm doing very well, very well. So thank you, everyone, for joining. This is Trevor from Yoyopop. I've known him for a number of years now. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Danny's people of Danny and anyone else who's listening. I co-run a studio called Yoyopop in Waterloo, and we make motion graphics, design, and animation for mainly TV, film, and now much more online content. And we're locked down.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
for everyone's aware in the country, our industry has opened up marginally and allowed us to do COVID-19 secure guidelines applying, allowed to do viewings. And you used to work above me, so you've become very aware of how we operate. And how's it been for you at home?
You know what? I mean, I think we were saying a bit earlier that our studio, we're a very small company of 4 people, and we've been very lucky with the clients that we've had. And it's very much like there's a lot of love in our studio in terms of, I run it with my wife, Michelle, and it's a lovely spot. We love being in the studio. But since the lockdown, we always said, I wish the world would stop so we had time to think about all the things you never have time for. And this COVID thing has been 7 weeks of, I know it's been terrible for everyone else, and my heart goes out to everyone, but for us, it's been a blessing, a total blessing. We've ended up getting so much bigger thinking done. We've had lots of fun. We actually had lots of fun too, me and Mish, just house parties, just me and Mish, which has been nice as well, kind of unusual. And we've done a lot of big thinking, 10-year plans, and refining down who we'd really want to work with, and creating a new business deck that's really, really kind of new creative sort of work, animated work. So when we talk about motion graphics, it's more like, you watch the big opening sequence of a TV show like Westworld, or BBC or something like that. Really, really nice, different styles. That's the sort of thing that we make, 3D, 2D animation. So yeah, we've been really enjoying being at home, really. Been running a little bit. You'd be glad to hear, Danny.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm firm believer that I think there's going to be there's also going to be a fatter nation. There's going to be a big divide between the very healthy and the very slim, and the very unslim. Sorry. You're doing well, mate, though. So how long have you been running for?
13 seconds.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No. It was like an hour this morning. Go back 6-7K. Go along the river because we're near the river in Bermondsey. Yeah. And we got run up to from Tower Bridge to the Tate, and then up and over and across a little bit, and then back again. It's lovely. It's been so beautiful as well. There's no one around. You've got the city back all to yourself. No tourists on Tower Bridge. It's just packed full of everyone. Just take thousands of photos constantly. Yeah. There's no one. That's been quite.
To be honest, I've been doing, it's a little bit longer. I've been doing my 18, 20-mile runs on Sundays, and I've been going, I know, it's a bit weird. I've been running, like you said, Tower Bridge. I'm running all the way along down to Battersea Park, a loop of Battersea Park, and then back up, and going up Old Bond Street and all. I've been running down the middle of the Pall for weeks, and having policemen wave at me because they think it's funny that this madman is running down the middle of the Pall.
Totally, mate. Totally, that's brilliant. That would have been an amazing run.
Oh, it's awesome, mate. It's awesome. But it's just a bit to London, because I'm never going to get it back. It's never going to happen, unless, it continues. But it's already getting busier, so it's harder. But a few weeks ago, it was like God's country. It was amazing.
Amazing, all these streets and city blocks, and like the way that they, obviously built a city for millions of people to use, and suddenly no one's using this massive infrastructure, and it's all there for you to kind of explore. I guess while the lockdown's in, you've got, encourage people to just kind of definitely take as many walks into that city as you can. And, it's just beautiful out there.
Well, it also gives you time to think. So because you're in the creative sphere, I want to hear more about how you've actually been, aiming yourself in terms of your 10-year plan. So for viewers of this video, the whole point is to try and get out of your comfort zone and think about something that you could do in the same industry or a totally unrelated field. Because obviously we do very contrasting things. How would you advise people doing that? How have you done it at home?
I think it's good. I would say it's the perfect time for people who aren't necessarily, or have always been interested in certain creative pursuits, I never had time. It's such a perfect time to kind of, if you can with amongst the kids or whatever other responsibilities, to make schedule your day. There's so much more important when you don't have a schedule, you don't have work, to create a Google sheet. There's loads of little templates. I can send you a link to a little template, and it's like little calendar dates. You know, your 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is your most productive time, and you book in all those really key things that your mind is going to be the best at. So maybe it will be learning the hard stuff, creating a structure around your learning. So let's say you want to learn more about Photoshop or video editing or video or effects, animation effects and things like that. There's a plethora of amazing tutorials out there that people are just giving away for free. It's absolutely everywhere. I could send a few links to those as well, and the software as well. There's software out there, like there's student licenses for everything that are free that you can just download onto your laptop. You don't have to be an expert, and it's a long journey. I've been doing animation since I was 21, and I'm 48 now.
Wow.
So that's quite a while. I guess that is quite a while, isn't it? 27 years. And I've been using the same software from the fucking beginning. After Effects, Adobe After Effects, version 1.2, when I was, 20, 21, 22. And now I'm 48, and I've just come downstairs from doing another crazy render in After Effects version, whatever crazy thing it is. The great exciting thing about it is you never stop learning. And as soon as you think you've figured something out, you slap yourself around the face and realize you know nothing about it, because it is limitless, the amount of amazing, exciting things. If you take it on that level, you'll never disappoint yourself. You just constantly just grabbing and eating as much as you can, because it stimulates your mind, and it really does kind of, it's kind of exciting. You do get excited about it. You go to sleep thinking about these things, and then during lockdown, we all need to we feel a little bit flat because we don't have our friends and we don't have all these other things that we go and see and do. And our calendar's always back to back. I've got to do this thing and that thing. You're literally left with yourself. Now you can take it as an opportunity, or you can wallow in that kind of like desperate empty space sometimes. But I think fuck it, just take it all on. Anyway, I would always. I'm a relatively positive person. I've been very lucky in my time, so I think if I can ever help anyone, if anyone's interested, drop us a line. Trevor Yoyopop. Yeah. Always more than happy to help.
Oh yeah, well your details will be at all over it for sure. The thing is, I've always liked your enthusiasm and your bounciness, and I suppose we're both quite bouncy people. Exactly. Although I've got 11 miles in me, so I'm a bit more zen. Well, and I still need to have my second coffee of the day, and then that will perk me up, and then I'll have tea. It's funny because Unique Property Company, we've done the same kind of thing. We had lockdown. We couldn't meet for our weekly thrice weekly meetings where we discuss things, and we've been trying to go down this angle of creativeness. And I'm not going to bore everyone with the detail, but I started doing these videos, and I went down the legal route, and I went down the finance route, and now I'm trying to go down this creative route. And I truly believe that you can make out of any industry, out of any, be it property, be it video editing like you're doing, or your animation, but even if you're a lawyer, you can make the new norm is not the norm, and I know that's been rehashed over and over and over again, but I believe it's true, because I think you can make another angle to what you do and make it interesting to Mr. Joe Public. I mean, how would you describe someone who's like into interior design to do that, or someone like me a property company that operate not on the high street? I mean, how would you advise people go creative with sort of video and
entirely?
Yeah,
I think people buy from people, and there is a million animating companies out there. There's a million people selling properties. There's a million people selling cakes, and your authenticity is everything, and that's what everyone buys from. And it's not just I'm a really interesting person that's going to make it. You have to kind of take that and then work with that, and then how do you communicate that with your one-to-one audience or a wider audience? And obviously using creative techniques like creating video or brainstorming an idea, something that you always thought of when you were a child, before you ever wanted to make cakes for a living, and you thought, right, I always, when I was a kid, I always loved this show, and it was this thing that I really enjoyed. All right, well, we can make some, you could make some, or you could learn, the cake maker could come up with a brilliant concept that they can make themselves, that be it just a piece of video where they're explaining it in a more creative way than you pour the thing in here and you do this and you mix that. You've got to think a bit broader. I also think there as well, another thing that me and Michelle have been doing, and we've been doing before the lockdown as well, is massive mind maps. Now, when you've got 1,000 different ideas, or you've always wanted to be this thing and you're over here at the moment, and there's this and this and this that's standing in your way, or these things are also interesting, you can't, no matter how smart you are, you can't do it in your head. I'm sorry, you can't. Because our minds are only, no matter how lateral you are, able to focus on one thing, and you're able to push these things around. When you stick it on a gigantic, and I mean big old piece of tracing paper, hold on.
Yeah, no, show me, please.
Well, this is, I don't know, this is just an old one, but you just get a massive piece of tracing paper and you roll it out on your table and you put where you are in the middle and where you want to go, but you see it all at the same time. When you can see everything at the same time, and I know this is kind of a common technique, but you often say it to lots of people and they go, oh yeah, I thought I would. But honestly, without doing that, you're literally locking yourself into one train of thought to solve your problem. And you can solve problems in many, many ways. As soon as you start exploring, you do it every month. If you've got a particular problem you're trying to solve, rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it. Paper's cheap, pens are cheap.
Yeah.
Time isn't. So anyway, that's a good one.
No, that's actually a really good analogy, because in agency, in state agency, you go in any standard corporate high street agency, you'll go in and you'll see the back room and you'll see a whiteboard on the wall and all the list of properties and all the things. Now, that is very classic, but it's very clustered. So that's how I can rationalize it in my industry. I would wipe all those off, the properties you can have on your system, you don't have to have them on the board, and start putting down, like you say, monthly, weekly, daily goals. What can you achieve in each of these things as a team in any industry? And that's what I would do with our little team. And we've been in lockdown. We've been doing pretty much every day Skype calls, Zoom calls, anytime that suits people. If everyone can gather, great. If not, at one point we had all 8 of us. One's in South Africa, one's in Bucharest, one's in Hastings, 3 in London, one's in I think one was in Canada. That's because in Canada, all our creative team and all the property team, and we just had a real, like you said, year, 2 year and 5 year plan about where we want to be and what we want to do and what position we want. And it really worked. But the tracing paper idea and like that kind of whiteboard analogy is a really good idea. And it's good to get a big circle of where you need to be, and you can just, if it doesn't work, you can just get rid of it and start again. Yeah.
So a new one, and also it's very useful for, like, you have set ways of doing things, and let's say we want to do this thing that the other people are doing, and they do it so well, but we don't want to copy them exactly. We want to do it our own way. Let's say it's a different way of marketing property, a way of visualizing property. Now, obviously, you can. I'm always there, Danny, if you ever want to help. But it's a way of rethinking the way that you think in terms of a classical way of solving a problem about boiling an egg. You don't have to stick it in a pan. This is a silly analogy, but things are much more complicated than boiling an egg. And so when you want to really kind of do something that's going to push your business forward or push your creativity forward, the standard way of doing it isn't always the right way. Everyone works differently, and especially in groups, then the complexity of how your team is structured is also a unique sort of fingerprint. So you look at each task in a much more of a kind of a forensic breakup way. You've got, if it takes you 2 hours and you figured out something really fundamental that's going to make your running technique, I would take it down to a bit like running technique.
Yeah.
If you run like a twat, not like a twat, but if you've got a bad technique and you're damaging your knees, and you do run like a twat.
I really do.
But you know, like you go half the distance, you damage your body and it really hurts. Or if you get a good technique, you go twice as far and you feel like you haven't done anything.
Yeah.
The same goes with, you know, thinking techniques, and I think, you know, ways of solving problems. If you spend 2 hours working out a better technique, you're going to save yourself months of your life going round and round in circles.
Yeah.
I mean, things like that. Meditation's very important, I think, in anyone's guys. You know, if you're struggling with your mind and, you know, it's too much going on, sit down and have a breathe. Doesn't have to be complicated. I made a Trev's Guide to Meditation. Yeah. Animated and a PDF downloadable. My own technique, like it's not like plinky plonky music and candles. It's just a breathing technique that will give you space between your thoughts and make you sleep better and think a little bit clearer.
You know what's funny? I think meditation, a friend of mine, I won't name his name or do details, he was on the verge of, you know, in January, as you can imagine what I'm saying, and he has gone to meditation. He didn't go to therapy, and he realized what his problems were through his own thoughts and processes, as you say, by the breathing. And he then phoned me after he did these classes and went, you know, it made me think of you running, Danny, or someone, you know, just going for a long cycle. That, he said, that's your meditation. And I went, of course it is. Everyone has to have. I was on the golf course with my dad yesterday because woohoo, play golf, and and even though that's not, you know, it's nice to spend time with your pups and stuff, but my dad was saying this is a great. He said this is just a great way of just letting go, and I said, Dad, it's a little bit like meditation. He said, yeah, because I'm just playing golf with, you know, my favorite person in the world, away from your mum, you're away from your wife, and it's just nice to just have that time. And and I totally, exactly, happy family. But I totally agree with what you're saying. I think there's, alongside all the business plans, alongside all the, you know, oh, you got to push it and you can, you know, the sky's the limit. I think there has to be also time to make sure between that 8 and 2, as you say, because I truly believe no one's a night owl. I don't think it works personally. Some people say they do.
No.
I think
no. I mean, I've written it down in the thing. It's like I've got this PDF guide and made a little animation, stuck it on LinkedIn. I'll try and send you a link, or I'll send you a video. But it's kind of like, you know, you sit. You get up before anyone else wakes up, if you can, just for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, put 2 cushions on the floor, you set your stopwatch on your phone for 10 minutes. You straighten your back and you close your eyes, but not completely, let a little bit of light through your eyes, because that's the way you stay conscious without falling asleep. And all you do is lightly focus on the air going in and out of your nose. That light focus, you don't berate yourself when you lose it or you go off and thinking about your washing, because you've got these Buddhist, you know, anyway, it's another subject, but it's a good one, and, you know, spend their whole lives talking about, you know, people spend their whole lives studying this thing. I was in New Zealand, and I've been to lots of different retreats and been to some journeys myself on the ups and downs, and there was a tree, you know, this Buddhist monk, he's 90 years old, he's been doing it all his life from year dot, and there's this path, there's 12 steps to calm abiding, they call it, something like that, and he's on stage 7 at the age of 90. You know, it's like learning anything, and basically the same principles of learning anything, learning any new technique or whatever it is. It's not, you know, an old cliche of it's been the fucking journey. Of course it's the journey. You know, you're never going to get to the destination. If you did, you're going to be bored anyway. What do you do when you stop? I'm going to do something else.
Yes. Everything
takes forever to get to. Just fucking choose where you're going. But, you know, the meditation helps you on those paths. You know, it helps you kind of not give yourself a hard time. It helps you sleep. You know, it helps you, if you've got a busy mind, especially creative people, you know, they can have overactive minds. You know, you run like a motherfucker. That's your 100% biggest
That's the only way
biggest meditator.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only way I get rid. Otherwise, I wouldn't be married.
No, that's clear.
I'm irritating. I haven't run. I really am. But it's the same. It's the same with, as you say, being compartmentalizing your thoughts. So I think out of this conversation, I realised that the number one thing that people need to and will, hopefully, if they've given it some thought when they've had all this time, is just spend a little bit of time in yourself every day and don't give yourself such a hard time. You don't have to be the number one. Yeah, there's always going to be. My dad, my old man, has always said, there's always someone better than you. There's always someone richer than you. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
Good. Fucking thank God for that. I wouldn't want to be the richest, best it would be, where would you go after that? And I don't think, and basically it's not possible to be the best at anything. Everything is subjective. And, but there's so much pressure. Sorry, old boy.
Yeah, no, I just said everyone needs to be bad at something. It makes the world entertaining, doesn't it?
Make mistakes. Constantly make mistakes. Fuck things up. Try things that you've never done before. It will go wrong, but from it you learn. That learning from that is in, you can't learn anywhere else. You can't try and learn that stuff. It's only from mistakes. But all this stuff is, it's fairly, standard sort of mantra for a lot of people. But I think it's good to reiterate it, and remind yourself. You almost need a little list of, all right, don't have a go at myself. All right, take it easy on myself. All right, I can do this. All right, I'm going to do some mind maps. Make yourself a list. Be organized. Sort your time out and your schedule out so that you can get these things done. Lockdown or no lockdown,
Exactly. And also, 5 o'clock on a Friday, I'm having a bottle of wine with the missus. Give yourself that. It's okay. It's okay. Or if you don't drink, go and have a lovely curry and just sit in the garden. Do you know what I mean? Just something.
Oh, that's such a good idea, old boy.
Yeah, indeed. And on that note, Trevor, it's a pleasure chatting, and I can't wait to have a South Bank pint with you. All right, mate?
Yes. Ooh, well, it's not going to be long, is it?
No. Social distance.
Social distance pint like that.
Hello.
I'll send you those links, old boy. Right, lovely talking to you, old boy. Thanks so much for asking us on, and see you soon.
Thanks, Trevor.